Arsenal's 34-game scoring streak against Wolves is insane. There's one incredible statistic that has defined this fixture for decades, and it all but guarantees Arsenal will score. We reveal this insane streak and debate whether Wolves' struggling defence can finally be the one to break the curse. Hello, Gooners. Hello, football fans, and welcome to In the North Bank. You join us today because we're doing a review of Arsenal versus Wolves. And before we go any further, please give us a like, a share, a subscribe. And also, if you could scan the QR codes on the screen, one in the top right is for the Discord, and the one along the side is for the Big Sunday quiz show. They're both free. In the Discord, you can join us in chat, talk about Arsenal, talk about football in general. And then the Big Sunday show is obviously a quiz that we're doing on Sundays now. If you sign up for free, it's really easy. Fastest finger first, load of fun. And there will be prizes in the future. And who doesn't love a quiz? I mean, come on, guys, think about it. In football, some stats are impressive, some are surprising, and a select few are just unbelievable. They defy logic, they span generations, and honestly, they feel a little supernatural. For decades, the match between Arsenal and Wolverhampton Wanderers has been defined by one of these stats: a scoring streak so long, so impossibly consistent, it almost feels like a curse.
There's an incredible statistic that guarantees Arsenal will score in this game. That's right. For 34 straight matches, no matter the competition, no matter the form, the players, or the managers, Arsenal has found the back of the net against Wolves. This isn't just a good run, it's the longest scoring streak Arsenal have against any opponent in their entire history.
In this video, we won't just tell you about this insane streak, we're going to break down how it happened. We'll relive the impossible moments, the near misses, and the last gasp drama. And we'll ask the ultimate question: can Wolves' struggling defence finally be the ones to break this nearly half-century curse? To really get to the sheer scale of this streak, we have to go back, way back, not to Arteta, not to Wenger, not even to the start of the Premier League. We have to travel to a different time, a different world. The year is 1979. Margaret Thatcher is a few months from her election. The Sony Walkman has just been released in Japan.
In football, things are different. This is the era of the old First Division. Liverpool are the dominant team, Nottingham Forest are conquering Europe, and the game is gritty, raw, and often brutal. It's February 24th, 1979. Arsenal, managed by Terry Neal, and with Irish superstar Liam Brady pulling the strings, welcome Wolves to the hallowed turf of Highbury. Wolves, under manager John Barnwell, are a tough side themselves, with legends like Emlyn Hughes and Andy Gray in their ranks.
On that cold February day, something happened that felt completely unremarkable at the time. It was just another hard-fought match. But looking back, it's a moment frozen in time. Wolves won 1-0. They kept a clean sheet at Highbury, a solid away day for them, but nothing more. Nobody leaving the stadium, whether they were a happy Wolves fan or a gutted Gooner, could have possibly known what they'd just seen. They had just witnessed the last time for the next 4.5 decades that a Wolves team would stop Arsenal from scoring a goal.
Think about that. Every player on the pitch that day is long retired. The managers have grown old. The stadium Highbury itself isn't even standing anymore. The world has changed in 1,000 ways, but one thing has been constant. Whenever Arsenal play Wolves, they score.
That day in 1979 wasn't the start of a rivalry, it was the start of a statistical anonymity. So profound, it's become a legend. It was the day the curse was born. The curse didn't start with a bang. It was almost silent. The very next time the clubs met in September 1979 at Molineux, Wolves actually won the game 3-2. But hidden in that Arsenal loss was the seed of the streak. They'd scored the run. They'd scored. The run had begun.
Throughout the 80s, the fixture was a mixed bag. There were wins for Arsenal, Wolves wins and draws. But in every single match on those mud-caked pitches, Arsenal found a way to get on the score sheet, whether it was a moment of magic from a player like Charlie Nicholas or a scrappy set-piece goal, the ball always ended up in the Wolves' net.
Excuse me. But the streak truly came alive with the arrival of one man, Arsene Wenger.
When Wenger came to North London in 1996, he brought a revolution. He wanted fast, fluid, attacking football. It was a style built on technical brilliance, quick passing, and players who only thought about going forward. This new Wenger ball was the perfect fuel to turn the streak from a fun fact into what felt like a law of nature.
Under Wenger, Arsenal didn't just score against Wolves, they often tore them apart with a style. A perfect example came in the FA Cup on January 24th, 1999. Arsenal, the reigning double winners, travelled to a hostile Molineux. It was a proper fiery cup tie.
But Arsenal's quality, the genius of their Dutch masters, was just too much. First, a flash of orange. And Mark Overmars used his blistering pace to put Arsenal ahead. Wolves fought back with a Harvard flow grabbing an equaliser. But then Dennis Bergkamp did what Dennis Bergkamp does for a sublime touch, a quick shift, and a perfect right-footed shot secured a 2-0 win.
It was a classic. Arsenal from that era. It was a classic Arsenal from that era. Tough when they needed to be, but ultimately decided by breathtaking skill. And of course, they scored. The streak was alive and well now, powered by one of the greatest attacking philosophies the English game had ever seen. As the years rolled on, the streak entered its third decade. Arsenal and Wolves often found themselves in different divisions, but whenever their paths crossed, the script was the same. The names on the back of the Arsenal shirts changed, but the name Arsenal was always on the score sheet.
This is where the streak goes from impressive to truly insane. Let's start with the demolition jobs. On December 2nd, 2003, during the legendary Invincible season, a young Gunners side hosted the Wolves in the League Cup. Wenger used the cup to test out his next generation, and they delivered a stunning 5-1 victory. The night was historic for two reasons. First, it showed off the club's incredible depth, with players like Jeremy Aliader running wild. Second, a 16-year-old Spanish kid named Cesc Fabregas scored his first goal for the club, becoming Arsenal's youngest ever goal scorer, a record that still stands today. Even with a team of kids, the streak wasn't just safe, it was celebrated with a 5-goal masterclass.
Now let's jump to a game where everything was on the line. The date, April the 11th, 2012. Arsenal are in a dogfight for a Champions League spot. Every point is crucial. They travel to Molineux to face a Wolves team battling relegation, desperate for a miracle.
The game explodes into life. Just 8 minutes in, Theo Walcott bursts through on goal. He's taken down in the penalty box by Sebastian Besson. Penalty to Arsenal. But it gets worse for Wolves. It's a red card for Besson before the game has even settled. Wolves are a man down and a goal down as Robin van Persie steps up and delivers an outrageous chip at Panenka for his 27th league goal of the season. 2 minutes later, it's game over. Van Persie and Walcott combine, and this time Walcott smashes it home to make it 2-0. Yossi Benayoun later added a third, seeing a comfortable 3-0 win that pushed Arsenal towards the top four and Wolves towards relegation.
Under immense pressure, the streak delivered a knockout blow in just 11 minutes. But it's not the easy wins that makes a streak like this so crazy. It's the near misses. It's the moments where all logic says the run is finally over, only for fate to intervene at the last second. For the most unbelievable example, we have to go to the Emirates on February the 24th, 2022. Arsenal and Wolves are direct rivals fighting for a spot in Europe. The game is massive.
It starts with a disaster for Arsenal. 10 minutes in, a sloppy back pass from Gabriel is picked off by Wolves forward Huang Hee-chan. He rounds the keeper and slides it in from a tight angle. 1-0 to Wolves. For the next 17 minutes, Wolves are brilliant. They defend, they frustrate, they are a solid wall of old gold. Arsenal dominate the ball but can't find a way through. The clock ticks 75 minutes, 80 minutes. The home fans are groaning. This feels like it's the night the 43-year-old run finally dies. Then the 82nd minute, substitute Eddie Nketiah gets to the byline and cuts it back for Nicolas Pepe. Pepe, a player who could be so frustrating, produces a moment of pure class. He spins his man and fires past the keeper, Jose Sarr. 1-1. The Emirates erupts. The streak is saved.
But the drama isn't over. The game is wide open. The clock hits 90 and we go into stoppage time.
We're in the 95th minute. One last desperate Arsenal attack. The ball scrambles to Alexander Lacazette in the box. He scuffs his shot. It's not a great hit, but in a moment of pure football chaos, the ball deflects off Jose Sarr's gloves and spins agonisingly into the net.
Pandemonium. It's official. A 95th minute own goal. Arsenal have won it 2-1. They have snatched a vital victory, but more than that, the streak survived in the most improbable, heart-stopping way you could imagine. It wasn't just a goal, it was a statement. This streak doesn't break, it just refuses to die. So how do you explain this? 34 straight games, nearly half a century. Is it tactics, psychology, or just a ridiculous statistical fluke?
The truth is, it's probably a mix of all three. First, the tactics. For most of this streak, especially since the mid-90s, Arsenal has had one identity. Attack under Wenger, and now Arteta, the philosophy is to have the ball and go forward. Wenger's teams were all about speed and genius from players like Henry and Bergkamp. Arteta's sides are more structured, but the principle is the same. Control the game and use clever passing to break down the defence. For 34 games, over 90 minutes, Wolves have eventually buckled under that pressure. But you can't ignore the psychology. At this point, the streak is a story. It's a narrative that gets told every single time these two teams play. Imagine being a Wolves player in that tunnel. You know that for over 40 years, no Wolves team has kept a clean sheet against Arsenal. The media's been asking about it all week. Commentators mention it as you walk on the pitch. That weight of history has to be immense. It can create a self-fulfilling prophecy, where the desperate effort to not be the team that concedes again leads to a tiny mistake. For Arsenal, it's the opposite. They walk out with a confidence of history, a sense of inevitability. They know if they just keep playing their game, the goal will come. It always has. And finally, you have to admit, there's been some pure dumb luck. Football is a chaotic game. A deflected shot, a bad bounce. A 95-minute own goal for the streak to last this long. It needed some good fortune. It needed every near miss for Wolves to go just right, and every last-ditch Arsenal effort to somehow find its way in.
Combine a relentless attacking style with a powerful psychological edge and a healthy dose of luck, and you get something that feels less like a sports statistic and more like a law of physics. That brings us to today. The streak is a living, breathing thing, and with every year, the legend and the pressure grows The question is the same as it's been for decades. Could this be the time it finally ends?
Let's look at the clubs. Under Mikel Arteta, Arsenal have become a powerhouse again. They ended the 23-24 season with 28 wins and 89 points, finishing just 2 points off title. Their styles were a well-oiled machine built on a rock-solid defence and a dynamic attack, led by players like Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard. Arteta's record against the current Wolves manager, Rob Edwards, is flawless. He's won all 2 of their meetings. On the other side is Wolves, a tough, competitive team managed by the tactically smart Rob Edwards. But their recent history against Arsenal is brutal. They have lost their last 8 matches against the Gunners.
For Wolves to finally break this curse, everything has to go perfectly. They need a heroic, flawless defence performance for 90 plus minutes. They need to find a way to disrupt Arsenal's rhythm, force turnovers, and pose a real threat on the counter attack to sow some doubt. And they need some luck. They need the ball to bounce their way for a shot to hit the post and stay out. Looking at the two teams, the gap in quality and form is still there. Arsenal enter every meeting not just as the better team on paper, but with the colossal weight of history in their corner. Wolves step onto the pitch carrying the baggage of every team that has failed since 1979. It's a classic unstoppable force versus an historical movable object. And while any streak can end, the odds are overwhelmingly stacked in Arsenal's favour. So there it is, a streak that has outlasted managers, players, and the very stadium where it all began. It's been kept alive by skill and dominance, and by at least one moment of pure, unbelievable luck.
Arsenal's 34-game scoring run against Wolves isn't just a stat. It's a story of inevitability, a psychological weapon, and one of the strangest anomalies in modern football.
But every curse is meant to be broken, right? I want to turn it over to you guys now. What do you think? Can Wolves finally put together that perfect defensive game and break this curse? Or will Arsenal's incredible streak defy logic once again? Let me know your predictions in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and for more football stories, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching.